Okay, hello, João. João Meneres from Quinta do Romeu in the Douro Valley of Portugal. João, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you, Brian. It's my pleasure, and what a wonderful surprise to call me.
I know
No,
it's
I know this was scheduled. This was scheduled. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for taking your time to talk with me.
yeah, no. It's a strange time in the world, and it's really nice to be able to connect this way and
Mhm.
hopefully connect with our customers as well. So if you're watching this, this is the virtual visit for Quinta do Romeu in the Douro. And basically, if you would like to try any of the wines that we have today, reach out to me so I can get you samples. And it's a new way of tasting. Since Joao can't come over here to America, and I'm not going to travel outside of Salt Lake City, this is the way to do things. So Joao, just to kind of outline how today will go, we'll talk about where you're located because where you're located right now looks incredible. It's a beautiful day. Um,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
then we'll talk about maybe your family history, kind of how Quinta do Romeu came to be, and then maybe like the farm, the philosophy, how you farm or practices in the farm, and then we'll taste through the wines. So first off, uh, where are you?
So, and right now I'm on the top of the cliff. So I have a really nice north-facing view
Beautiful.
to the vineyards, the winery, and to the terroir. So if later you find it that is you could do it, I can show a little bit
Great,
when we
great.
talk about the place and the wine. So I
Sounds
came
awesome.
here because it was a bit later in the afternoon. The sunset should be right in 30 minutes or so.
Great.
So to have some light, I came here to a higher point, and also I like talking to you while being here. You came here already, like a few times,
I've
so
been
you
there
know where I am.
before. It's so
Yeah,
spectacular. This property is
yeah.
mind blowing. So that everyone knows where we're talking about. Basically, I can share some maps. Obviously, Iberian Peninsula. Portugal is on the west coast of the Iberian Peninsula, right next to Spain. And here's a little bit more in-depth view of the kind of wine region of Portugal. So the famous Douro River goes right through here, and here is Porto e Douro, and this is essentially where Romeu is. However, this is pretty cool. So this is really port country down along the river, Baixa Corgu, Cima Corgu, Douro Superiore. But Joao, you're located. It's kind of cool because this map doesn't even show where Romeu is, right?
It's a secret spot.
It's a
You can't
secret
come here
spot.
unless I show you the way here. No, no, they put that zoom out square of the region right on top of where Romeo would be.
Where
So
you
we
are.
are
So
located. Yeah, we are the ones further north, literally further north in the entire Douro region. We are Douro Superior, where it is more continental, and yeah, where it's hidden by the
where it's
word
hidden by this
Spain.
kind of right bottom
Yeah,
corner. Yeah, totally,
yeah, that
totally.
it will be there. Yeah.
Which is pretty unique because where Romeu sits, it's part of the Douro Superior, but is it's like it's a special spot drawn just for you guys. It's outside of the typical area where everybody thinks of port wine coming from. It's much further north. It's in its own area, and here's a couple views that Joao's looking at right now. But the old family,
Yeah.
or the old cellar,
Yeah, actually, where I am, just to tell you and to let the other ones know, is in the back on that. Oh, that's right, where you have
right,
the
right
mouse
there.
pointed.
Well, that's
That's
where you
where,
are
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
that's where I am. Yeah, yeah, that's where I am.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I will say hi so you can see me.
Okay, perfect. So let me stop there. So you're in the Douro, and how did you come to be? You're fifth generation winemaker. Like, what is the history? How did you land where you are today?
Uh, so it was my great grandfather. So I personally landed here because I love Romeo and I love being here. So it's my passion. It was a heart-made decision I took to join and take care of the farm. but the reason behind and what's the story behind it was when my great-great-grandfather, he came here. He was looking for cork because he had a small cork factory in Porto. He was sourcing all the cork from Alentejo, from the south, and he heard that right here, there were in Romeu. Romeu is the name of the village where the farm is. There were a lot of cork trees. So he came here to buy cork. There was no cork available to buy because it's a very different landscape. Okay, so right behind over there, that's a cork tree. So you can
Oh,
see it in the middle of the rocks.
yeah.
It's where you cannot farm anything. So it was considered non-fertile land. So instead of buying cork, he ended up buying trees. And after just a few years, he had to, because the cork extraction only happens between mid-May until roughly mid-August,
Okay.
to be able to employ or to pay a wage year-round to the local workers. He ended up replanting some vineyards that were killed by the phylloxera. He also planted olive groves. And since then, we have these three crops. And the configuration of the farm is still the same since 140 years.
So how big is the property, João?
It's hard to measure. So the vineyards are 25 hectares.
Okay.
The olive groves 120, like planted in an extensive way, not intensive. And then the forest, which is a virgin forest, it's roughly 2,500 hectares.
Wow. So a lot of land of just beautiful earth with mountains and cork trees everywhere and rocks
Yeah.
and you.
Yes, and the three crops, they are in a mosaic. Of course, we are surrounded by the forest, but the olive groves and the vineyards are planted right next to each other and in the forest. And so we try to, with all this biodiversity, we try to have it balanced and in balance, have nature in balance and not disturb it a lot.
It's awesome. So here's actually a picture while I was there a couple years ago of a cork harvest. So this is all the bark stripped off the trees.
Yep.
This is kind of you make a lot of olive oil. In fact, I brought some olive oil just to show because olive oil production for you is very important, and it's incredible, beautiful, amazing olive oils, and then of course vineyard sites. This amazing disposition to kind of the sun. The way that the entire canyon kind of works together is where all the vineyards sit, and it's pretty special. Biodiversity. Mm-hmm. There's sheep just grazing around. Yeah, so let me stop that there. So tell me, like, what elevation are you at there?
So the average elevation of the vineyards is 310, 320 meters above sea level.
Okay.
So we are not too high, but our latitude being further north, and we are the reason why you don't see it on the map, it's because there's an island here that is the Douro demarcated region that is further north. Is the landscape here has it's too windy? Okay.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so it makes like a bowl shape. So if in a radius of 3 to 5 kilometers in any direction you go, you'll be 500, 600, 800 meters above sea level. So this makes a very specific microclimate that is quite different from what's beyond that radius. And the type of soil, the climate, or the summers, it's very, very similar, or it's the same like in the Douro Valley nearby the river. The main difference is here it's much, much drier. And on the other hand, our winters are longer. So we don't have a long cycle, but we have a delayed cycle compared to the lower and warmer areas of Douro. Warmer, when I mean by warmer, is more warmer in the winter, let's say. Let's put it like
warmer in the winter, okay.
So the bud breaking timing, it's 2 to 3 weeks later here at Romeu than in those areas, those places. And so we end up harvesting, not the case of this vintage, but we end up harvesting also later. when the sun runs lower in the horizon, when the days are shorter, the peak temperature is more concentrated at the time, the mornings are fresher, nights cooler, and that's why we end up harvesting so late. Is because the cycle is delayed, but what it brings is that the ripening period is also in a different condition than if you do it in earlier, of course.
Okay, yeah. And is the soil type different there from down near the river or about the same?
No, the dominant soil in Douro is schist, is shale schist,
Yeah.
like in layers, very rocky layers,
Yeah.
deep schist.
Yeah.
We have it here in 90% of the area of where the vines are planted, because right now I'm in a big block of granite.
Right.
So,
right.
but then we have two parcels that also have a lot of quartz.
A lot of quartz. Okay.
So, but it's mainly schist.
It's mainly schist. All right.
Only one flat vineyard. All the other ones are quite steep, and so different exposures, a range of altitude of roughly 80 meters. So, but the average altitude is 320.
Cool. And I realize I glazed over this picture, but this is your father.
Yes.
Yes. So he's the fourth generation, and you still work a lot together at the farm. Yes.
Oh yeah, we've been today and yesterday, the whole day together in the winery. We started harvesting yesterday, so we've been a lot around on the vineyards, tasting grapes, following what's happening, also in the winery. So yeah, we pretty much work together. It's like
work together all the time.
And yes, I mean, of course, then there's some stuff he takes care more than I, and the other way around too.
Yeah.
But yes, but he is still 100% involved in what's happening.
Yeah. And then you have the sixth generation as well, right? You have
me myself.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I have three little kids. Yeah, but also there's a cousin of mine who is sixth generation who is also working with us.
Oh no way! Okay, cool.
Yeah, he takes. Actually, he's older than I. He's maybe 15 years older than I, but because
the way it works.
Generations, yeah, the compass wasn't the same in all the branches of the family. So, but he's also working with us, but takes care more of the office stuff.
Cool. Okay, great. And tell me about the
fourth, fifth, and sixth generation running the farm.
That's awesome. That's pretty. That's unique for sure.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is your farming philosophy in the vineyards? You're certified bio, all organic.
Mm-hmm. The entire estate.
The entire estate.
Yes, I mean, there's still a bit of that. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, wait, let me try to change the camera. So,
oh man,
can you see anything?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you see? Yeah. Okay, so when you so there you can't. The score is too small. I can see. Oh no, I can see what I see.
Yeah, it's better over there. There we go.
Yeah, but then you see rocks and forest. I choose the wrong position, I guess. I should be there, over there. I should be there. But anyway, you can show the pictures again, because the pictures show the different crops together.
Yeah.
And side by side. So the idea. I forgot to change the camera. Sorry.
I was wondering.
I think the bottles.
Yeah, that looks like a beer.
That is my. Yeah, it's. That's. Sorry. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's my phone stand. So, what I was saying. Oh yeah. So since the beginning, this was the configuration of the farm, and my grandfather in the very early 90s, he started to convert the olive groves to the organic farming. Okay. And then my father, when he joined the company, he did the same for the vineyards. The forest by nature, because it's virgin, it's also organic. So since then that we are farming organic certified for more than 20 years, or actually now more than 25 years.
Cool.
And we are also following some biodynamic practices since then.
Well, you would adjust your microphone again? It's a little windy.
Yeah, I think the wind is changing direction now.
Ah, there we go. That's better.
Like this.
Perfect.
Yeah,
More beer.
you can see me?
More beer. No, no.
Okay,
Great.
so I was saying, oh yeah, so we since 2012 we also start using trying the biodynamic preparations,
Cool.
and we're following the calendar. And actually, the main biodynamic principle, the first one, the one that is like the umbrella for all of them, is to look at your farming property as a whole, as one living complex organism between your crops, what's surrounding you, the local indigenous vegetation and animals, the people, and that it's like that in Sever. So it was just a bit using the preparation. And yeah, also one big difference is that we have a permanent team. We don't subcontract teams for the peak season. It's an advantage of having those three crops, is that we have people working with us permanently, also multi-generation families, different brothers and sons and wives, and happens a lot here. So that allows us, and they care for the earth and for the produces. So that helps a lot to achieve the quality, the quality of the product in the end.
I think that's one of the coolest things about Romeu is this multi-generational village that all works on the land. And depending on the time of year, you might be harvesting oak or cork trees. You might be picking the olives, tending to the olives, working in the vineyards. It's so cool. And especially right now.
And it's the same team that does everything.
It's the
same team does everything year round. Yeah.
That's so cool. And right now in the world, there's been quite a bit of controversy in the natural wine world with underpaying workers. And it's neat to know your situation is one team that works year round. That is so cool. It's so cool.
It's the other way around. No underpaying, no workers. It's a team. That's how you say it's family.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So then you take your grapes and we'll start to taste some wines, but what is the general process and philosophy for when the grapes come into the winery, with yeast, with sulfites, with fermentation? I can show a picture of an old lagar with grapes inside. So what is your process in general? And then we can talk about the individual wines.
So in general, we focus very much on the quality and the healthiness of the fruit. And even more than the fruit, it's on the balance or general happiness of the vines.
Cool, yeah.
So if you have that, then of the life in the soil and that balance should give you good fruit. Of course, there are many external factors from the vintage and from the specific vintage, but that's the main focus. Because then on the winery, you can't do much. I mean, there's a lot you can do, but you shouldn't, and we don't. Yeah. So the idea is to process the fruit, not with a lot of cosmetics. I mean, what we look for the wines is to have, for all of them, is to find balance with elegance.
Yeah.
So, and you cannot do that if you punish the fruit, or if you try to bring some industrial methods to achieve a certain profile. So the idea is to work very gentle with the fruit. We do mostly reds. All the reds, we don't do any bleeding. We don't do a lot of the food threading that is traditionally in the region. We don't do that. We just, for 98% of our wines, we just punch down the skins very gently twice a day to keep them wet. The lagars are very helpful for that, or useful for that, because they are shallow. You have compared to the volume, you have a thinner layer of skins, so it allows to do that. When you ferment in a cylindrical tank, then you have all the skins are concentrated in much more depth, so you have
Right.
to pump over much
And
more
work them
often, and
much harder.
you don't
Yeah.
you don't control do the delastage and stuff. We also do sometimes we do also ferment in tanks inside tanks some of the reds, but mostly it's in the lagars because of that.
Cool. Well, and that makes a lot of sense because when I taste your wines, I always think how fresh and gentle and light and expressive they are instead
Oh,
of
yeah,
big.
and that's another thing we look very much on the is to have the fresh fruit.
Yeah.
That for me doesn't mean acidic wines, although acidity is a very important element in the structure of. Sorry, my dog was jumping behind. I think he was against the bench, and the glass is on top, so there will be no glass for me to taste. So anyway, so it's not trying the acidity, but that is important in the balance of the wine, but to have fresh aromas and
Yeah.
vibrant, energetic fruit.
Cool. Cool.
And so that's our aim when we harvest. That's what we look for.
Beautiful. All right. Cool. Well, let's taste some wine. So, the Romeu line has a nice assortment of different cuvées and different blends from white, rosé, reds. Today, we're focusing on the 3 reds that we have currently in stock. But again, please reach out to me if you're interested to taste maybe the white or his rosé, because the wines of Quinta do Romeu across the board are beautiful and very expressive, very bright. But let's start with
Thank you, Brian. You should start to sell wine. You you can do
it. So, Moinho de Gato.
You could have a career.
I could maybe have a career. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is the which vintage did you grab?
Doing the one you told me, the 18.
The 18. Great. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So this is the 2018. Now I can't see you.
Yeah, I'll put the bottle in the back because it will fall here.
Oh, it'll fall. Yeah. So the Gato, like, how do you decide what is going to go into this wine each year? Is it always the same? Is it different? Because you have so many, what are the main red grapes you use?
They are all local, all indigenous. We have mainly Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tinta Roriz, Tinto Cão, Tinta Barroca, and Sousão. Those are and this year we planted some Tinta Francisca.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Yeah, so in 3 years or maybe 4 years, we're gonna start having them on the blend.
Each year, you do you make the same wine in the Gato?
No, that's impossible to do because we don't buy any grapes, we don't buy any wine. So all the wines are grown and produced and bottled and shipped by us. Cool. So it would be a nightmare or trying to invent Coca-Cola to make the same wine every vintage. So reinvent Coca-Cola. So the idea is that it suits the same moment of consumption. And for the Moinho do Gato, we want a wine that's when you finish a bottle, you open the second one without thinking twice. So it won't be heavy on your head or punish your mouth. So the main grape varietal here, and that's common through the vintages, is Tinta Barroca. But maybe you can see it now, because now the sun is gone.
The sun is gone.
So no, you can't. I don't know why it is so dark.
Yeah, it's still a little bit dark. It's so beautiful, though. I wish I was there.
It is, but okay. Oh, you can see it now?
Oh, yeah.
See that flat plot?
Yeah, definitely.
There? Okay, good. Yeah. So that's you see those trees making a round turn?
Yep.
In the middle, the only flat plot is where we have the Tinta Barroca.
Okay.
So, and it's a slightly deeper soil over there. It's fresher. So right now, half of the plot because of I'm seeing me, not you. Sorry. Okay. So half of the plot was in the shadow during the afternoon. And the idea for this wine is to make a shorter skin contact. It's roughly 5 days, 6 days. So we press when the density gets close to 120, 110, 130, depends
Okay.
on the vintage and the lagar. And just working very gently with the skins, and then finishes the fermentation in cement tanks and ages there. We bottle it young. We age it for a few months before releasing, but it's the only wine that we bottle before spending 2 winters in the cellar. So the
Two
idea
inches
is
in
to
the cellar.
bring
Okay.
this. It doesn't spend. The other ones they do.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the idea is to bring this young, fresh, vibrant, alive fruit to the bottle, and yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully
dynamite. It's
we are
bright.
successful.
It's expressive. The fruit is so lively and energetic, and like you said, it's really built to just keep drinking. Open up another bottle. It is, but not boring. It's not simple. It's not just kind of blah. It has a lot of energy and a lot of core like fruit to it. It's cool juice. I love this wine. Such a good value too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I drink it very often. So we for this wine is we aim to have to show some primary aromas in it. So not actually yesterday I was doing a similar video call like this,
Yeah.
but it was to Brazil, and I don't know, they always run much older. I know why, because it's harder to sell. So they run older vintages, and the one we were tasting of the Moinho do Gato was the 2015,
Okay.
and I didn't taste it for quite a while,
Yeah.
and I had a very good positive surprise with that. So the idea for this one is to drink young, but we every now and then I open some bottles. Sometimes I find an older bottle at my house or somewhere, and I open it, and it always tastes good.
It's perfect.
So the wine goes alive to the bottle, yeah.
That's awesome.
But I'm suspicious. You have to do it and then tell your friends if I'm correct or not.
No. I've had old vintage Moinho do Gato a lot, and I think it's always expressive and it's always fresh, and it still is primary, which I think is what's really cool about this wine, is it has that kind of upfront, lively fruit character that's really nice and meant to drink young, but it ages well. The acidity is good. The acidity is really good. So
yeah.
So now, how do you think differently for the Douro?
I will try to sit again because I'm on my knees. I think the wind changed again, so let's see if it works. If you don't mind, then you can cut this part from the video if you want to, because then I can sit again on the rock.
Perfect. Yeah, the rock looks more comfortable than your knees.
Yeah. Romeu rocks are very comfortable.
Yeah, they look like the best rocks.
Yeah, definitely. So, can you see me? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So the second one is, again, no oak aging, only cement, but with a different blend. So the main grape varietal, the Tinta Barroca from that plot you saw, that is deeper soil, it's the plot that suffers less from drought, from lack of water. Okay. So this one doesn't have any Tinta Barroca. So what makes roughly 4/5 of the Moinho do Gato, this one has none. And so what we look here is to have a more gastronomic wine. Yeah. Although it also spends the time ages in cement, but we have more Touriga Nacional, we have much more Sauzão also, and to have a gastronomic profile, spends two winters in the winery before bottling, and looking more for some secondary, some spicy characters, some secondary and tertiary aromas. Yeah. So not just the direct fermentation fruit. Yes.
Yeah.
So with a much better aging potential. This one is actually. This is not also the vintage. My bottle is tasting good. I don't know yours. But.
This is tasting really good. It's tasting really good. This wine is more gastronomic. Reminds me of the aromas.
Reminds me of the aromas of the forest. This one, it has more green aromas, not like very vegetables or grassy, but more like these. I show you these bushes.
Like herb bushes.
This reminds me a lot of the wild bushes of the forest. I will turn around. Now you can see because. So this is, for instance, this one. Esteva here,
Sure. Yeah.
or this one that is the Giesta, these ones.
Yeah,
And this
yeah.
reminds they're a bit like resiny and not resiny. They have a very specific smell that I'm not very good at describing because I'm not native English speaker. But when you come, this
Yeah, it smells
smelling
like the
here
mountain.
reminds me a lot of the forest. Yes,
Yeah.
also
Smells like
some
the forest.
spiciness and these wild bushes.
Yeah, totally. It's the French have the equivalent of like garrigue, but this is, the Portuguese version of that. It's fresh plants and herbs and bushes and trees. It's so,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the palate, the fresh, like the acidity is amazing. What grape out of all the different grapes you work with helps keep that high, vibrant freshness? Is there one
Is
in
the
particular?
Sauzão.
It's Sauzon.
Sauzão, yeah, definitely. So all the lagars we do, they are, except very small fermentations that you are trying something specific, they're always more than one varietal fermenting. Very often 3 and 4, but at least Sauzão goes in almost all of them because that's our. There's other character that it brings that we like, but very often we also use it for acidity correction. So instead of using tartaric acid, we have roughly 10% of the area is Sauzão, and so we also use a lot of Sauzão. So we finish the lagage very often with 50 cases, 20 cases, 30 cases of Sauzão.
Cool.
And that helps a lot to have a natural acidity balance in the must.
Yeah, the vibrance of this is alive. It's so cool. And like you said, it really isn't just about the fruit. It's not about primary. It really gets into secondary, tertiary notes that are not only fresh but also kind of just long in the mouth. They go. It's wonderful with food. It's serious wine. Really serious.
And this also has some slightly drier tannins than the previous one. Still soft, but drier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That acidity you said also helps him to age it long.
Yeah.
And there's layers. Certainly the best way to the wine already.
Yeah.
So, but the best way to discover the wine is not during a Zoom video call that you taste, or you are spitting. I'm not spitting because I'm finishing my day. I had a long day at the cellar, so
I'm only spitting.
Still at lunchtime.
I'm spitting some and then swallowing the rest because
I don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So, no.
You just have to hike back down the hill.
Actually, I'll drive.
Oh, okay.
I'm driving. Yeah, I have to carry the cases and the bottles and the bench where the phone is. But if you drink it through a meal, then there are several layers and nuances that you keep discovering. That's with me. That's my experience with this wine, and often I hear that happens also with others. So
yeah,
I think that's also an interest aspect of this wine. Is during a meal, as you drink it through the meal, you discover more layers and more.
It really unfolds.
Sides of it, yes.
Well, and honestly,
like with a person, like someone you meet, someone interesting. For the ones who like the wines.
Yeah.
Someone
True.
doesn't like the wine, he doesn't find interesting. But if you are having dinner with some interesting person you just met, and you keep knowing the person better and knowing deeper, and if there's a deeper talk, normally that's because the person is more interesting. If the wine shows deeper layers, normally means the wine is interesting. So I hope others can find that in this wine too.
I dig it. Well, and honestly, this is the best scenario. If our customers want to try a bottle, it's nice that they can sit with a bottle throughout an evening with food, with friends, have conversation, really dive deep into it. My good news is I get to drink all of these tonight. So this is
okay.
So let's do the 2014 Reserva. We don't have much of this left, but we do have some stock of the 2014 Douro Reserva, which is also a really neat wine because this wine carries a philosophy as well. Each year, kind of the structure and the style that you're going for. What do you try to accomplish in the Reserva?
Yeah, I'll be right back. So The Reserva is there's one main big difference compared to the other two wines we tasted. This is one unique lagar. Not unique because they're all unique. It's a single lagar. It's the entire lot ferments together.
Okay.
So we do the blend on the vineyard. It's
cool.
Most of the years, and since I'm here since 2012, every vintage has been like that. It's a blend of Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, and Sauzon that ferments together. We like today and every harvest day, besides any maturation control that is done by collecting samples and going to the lab and testing it and analyzing it, the main decisions came from tasting the grapes. And so there's a time that we start talking about the Reserva, when we can do it. I'm finding that plot is interesting and over there, but I like that one. No, but you didn't taste the bottom right, I taste the bottom, and stuff like that. Yeah. And then me, my father, and Mafalda, who also gives us consultancy on the oenology. We decide the Reserva Lagar, where we source the Touriga Nacional and how much, and Touriga Franca and Sauzon. So it's like a guessing exercise. And then we do it. Okay, so normally it's 2 days of harvest because Touriga Nacional is very slow to harvest.
Okay.
It's a low yield varietal. Okay. In very small bunches.
Okay.
So we decide, let's do it on Wednesday, let's put it. So Wednesday and Thursday we do it. And it ferments together. Then it ages in 500 little barrels of Austrian oak. Okay. Very light toast, mostly used. But what we look here is this wine is very spicy, very quite balmy. Yeah. The Touriga Nacional is very present. That character, the fruit, you feel also like a lot of citric character from the Touriga Nacional, like the bergamot, more in the mouth than in the nose. It's now 14. I think this vintage was a very peculiar is an English word?
Yeah. Peculiar.
Yeah, okay. Very specific one, because from what I can remember, it was the most mild summer we had in Romeu. So temperature never went higher than low 30, I don't know Fahrenheit, but Celsius, low 30.
Yeah.
So that means that the grapes or the vines were working every single day. Wow. After higher than a certain temperature, they just close, they start sweating to try to save the leaf. They don't do any photosynthesis, they don't work for the grapes. But literally, there was not a single day higher than 32 degrees or 33 degrees Celsius in Romeu, which is a miracle. And cool nights. What that meant for the, can you still see me? Because it's quite dark.
Yeah, no, I can see you great.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because I have a very small square to see myself. And so that meant that the vines during the harvest had a lot of leaves. So the leaf wall was still healthy and alive and very green, which doesn't happen every year. You start having some burn leaves every in many plots. So here, but during the harvest, 1 week before the harvest came a huge downpour. It rained a lot. And we were scared, like for 2 days, for a full weekend, it was raining a lot, maybe almost 50 millimeters that rain in those 2 days. And that was scary.
Yeah.
But because the vines had such a gentle summer, they were able to absorb all the water. The grapes kept healthy. There was no explode of grapes or rotting.
Yeah.
Rot on the grapes. So, and there was some more rain through the harvest, but not that much, and always with quite very few days dry and sunny in between. So it was a harvest that you would start and stop. Like you harvest 3 days and you stop for 4 days, and you harvest more 4 days and you stop for 2 days and stuff like that. It was very tricky, but in the end came out very well. Beautiful. So from the 14, it was a much fresher year, definitely. Yeah. The wines that we have from 14, they are aging beautifully. And actually for these bottles that you don't have anymore, we kept roughly 2 pallets of it. for a re-release in 2024 because we think that
it's going to.
It's showing beautiful. It's showing beautiful right now, but I think it has a very good aging potential for the 4 more years. So we are doing that for the first time.
Easily, this is it tastes wonderful. The oak is integrated, but it's present, and it also kind of just adds to that spicy, wonderful, savory quality you mentioned, while being kind of intense and dark on the fruit, but still light on its feet. I mean, it's 13% alcohol. It's amazing. You know, it's and it's interesting to hear about the vintage and how that came to be. It's delicious wine.
And this is a food pairing wine. This is definitely a wine for food.
Definitely a wine for food. Yeah. In fact, what am I having? I'm grilling some steak this evening. So this could be a good thing.
Okay.
It could be a good thing.
Yeah, that will go well. That will also go well with some more like sweeter, richer meat. Also like the lamb or the pork.
Right.
Or also would go well like with a mushroom risotto with some cream and cheese, like rich, earthy.
Yeah, actually, mushroom risotto with
intense
cream
food.
Really
this goes well. Yeah. It goes well. Yeah.
Cool. Well, João, it's so good to see you, and it's so good to taste your wines, and it's beautiful to see where you're at. I've been there many times, and I wish I was there hanging out with you on the rocks. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, this looks much brighter than it is. I'm gonna show you how this.
Better, you think?
We are finishing the video call, right?
Yeah.
So,
I can't see any land.
It's still dark. Pretty. Yeah, but you can see the sun. Yeah, so
sunset's amazing.
It's beautiful colors. Yes.
Wow. Cool. João, thank you, my friend. It's so good to see you. Oh, there's the vineyards.
Exactly. Yeah. Those are some vineyards. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Man, that is not my view from my house.
My house isn't here, isn't?
That's true. That's true.
You live in this rock either. It's not in this rock also.
Yeah. Cool. Well, everyone, let me know if you want to taste these wines, and I'll get them to you. And João, thank you so much, my friend. It's good to see you.
Thank you. My pleasure. And hope to see you soon.
Sounds good.